this is Intrigue, and this video is about the add-ons that I use in my user interface. The first add-on I'm going to talk about is my unit frame stuff unit frames. This is basically taken directly from Aliena's UI pack. A few of my UI components are taken from that or inspired by that, and maybe I've done some customization of my own. I'll put it in config mode so you can see what all the frames look like. So here I have player, target, target of target, focus, focus target, and up here's my pet, which I haven't really configured because I don't really play a pet class. The best thing about stuff is how much you have available to configure if you want to. A lot of this I don't have enabled, and what I have works really well for me. I also added in the profile picture here, and I think that looks pretty cool. I was inspired by Affinity's UI for that. Other unit frames that I've used and liked were Pitbull, and I believe that's it. I've heard good things about shadowed unit frames. Oh, LVUI I've used, and that was pretty good, but it had some things that I didn't really like. I used Xpearl, and I really don't like Xpearl. I think it's a good, like, training UI, so to speak, but it doesn't have enough, I think. Next, I'm going to talk about Power Auras, which is probably the most important add-on in my UI, and definitely my favorite add-on. Here you'll see I have a bunch of Power Auras out already, and these are basically taken from Affinity's UI pack. You'll see that if I cast something, it'll go on cooldown, and here it's translucent, and there's a timer. And that's pretty cool, but I have a lot more Power Auras than that. These are a bunch of Power Auras I've made, and they're not, like, enabled right now, or some of them might be, but you get the idea. Basically, you can configure Power Auras to track anything. You'll see I have Power Auras to track certain raid cooldowns, like Rallying Cry, Spirit Link Totem, and Aura Mastery. When those get used, I have these Power Auras pop up. I also have, like, a Danger Power Aura, and I have this, it's a pony. Right now it tracks Tormented, Fading Light, Shrapnel, Fixate, and Twilight Barrage, which are all very important debuffs from encounters that you need to be aware of when they're on you. I also have this Power Aura, which simply tells me if I have aggro. This, like, seems like if the boss is targeting you for whatever reason, this will come up. I originally made this for Heroic Rag. If I didn't have an elemental targeting me, then I wouldn't have this Power Aura show up, and I'd know I wouldn't have to run and could just cast heals, which was pretty important to know. Here we have the Affinity Power Auras, and I'm not really going to go into an in-depth explanation of them because they're not mine, and he has an excellent video about them, and you can get them pretty easily. I'll put a link in the description. I'll also put a link to Aliena's UI, though I believe it hasn't been updated in a while. It could still be useful. I'm going to make a new Power Aura right now, and I'll show you basically all the options that are available. There are a ton of images you can choose from that come with the add-on, and you can configure, like, size, position, color, opacity, all this stuff. You can also pick use own texture, and, like, we could make that smaller. And a lot of people use procs for power auras. So like I could track, say, Lightweave or something and know when that comes up. And so I would just put in here Lightweave, and then whenever I have Lightweave proc, this will come up, but it won't be a question mark. Here I've gotten the new power aura to show up. So this is basically what you could do with it, and what a lot of people will initially use power auras for. And of course you can have a timer on it, and you can also have stacks. So we can go back in and put a timer, and you can move this around. And if you want to track something else, this can easily do it. As you can see, there are all these options, and it's just amazing. Like, power auras can seriously do, I think, anything you'd want an add-on to track. Another alternative to this is Tell Me When, but Tell Me When seemed a little more complicated to configure. Next, I'll talk about my raid frames, which I use Grid. So I don't think it has a configuration mode, but yeah. So right now you'll just see I'm by myself, so there's just my frame here. But Grid is super configurable, and the only downside of Grid is that you have to download a lot of supplementary plugins for it. And like, there's a lot of arguments. Is Grid better or is Voodoo better? And my answer after using both of them pretty extensively is they both do the same things. Like, seriously, the advantage of Voodoo is that it comes with like everything already, like prepackaged, but Grid can do everything that Voodoo can do. Another advantage of Voodoo is that it typically updates sooner. The reason I went back to Grid is I felt it looked more crisp, and I don't know, it's just weird. I kind of miss Grid, but I'll put in the description all the supplementary plugins I use. It would take a bit too long to list them off, I think. But here you can see like a lot of the things I have Grid tracking. I have all these debuffs here, and what I'll do is I'll assign them colors, and I'll set that to color the health bar. And that way I know if somebody has the debuff, their health bar will just change colors to say, you know, green or red or pink or whatever. And that'll be like a lot easier to detect than, you know, an icon or, you know, square in the corner. And I don't use the default like corner squares. I use icon size and icon corners. These do have configuration modes, and you can see them here. They look pretty nice, I think, and they're a lot easier to see than a little square. And since it's the actual icon, you'll know what it is, hopefully. You can also like make it bigger or whatever. You can change it, and like they don't all have to be the same. Like I could make this bigger, and it also comes with like a timer and stack counter, which is very nice. So that's something to look at. Just to give you an idea, I have my add-on control panel open here, and this is a great like add-on if you have a lot of add-ons like me. This will show all the Grid add-ons I have enabled, and some I just have installed but I haven't enabled for some reason. There's quite a few of them, and the ones I have enabled I would definitely recommend, so those are pretty useful. The next add-on I will talk about is Forte Exorcist, which is this cooldown bar here. And this will track anything that you have on cooldown. You can also add and subtract things. It tracks debuffs, procs, items, and spells. It's just like it tells you the time remaining on something. You access this by typing /fx. And this has a lot more options than just what I have here. It was originally made for Warlocks, so it has a few Warlock related things like a Soulstone tracker, a Summon Assistant, which if you've partied with Warlocks before, sometimes you'll see them emote like, oh, clicky clicky, and that's probably this add-on. There's also Spell Timer, which I had in the corner here before, but I actually removed it because I thought it was a lot of screen clutter and I really wasn't looking over here ever. Sometimes it would be nice to know, like, oh, did, say, Power Infusion go on to the right target or something, but I mean, if it did, then what am I gonna do about it? I don't know. So, but that might be useful to someone if they want to use that instead of, say, class timers, which is the next thing I'm going to address. Class timers is what I use down here, and oh, here it is. Okay, so yeah, you'll see I have class timers here, here, and here. Since I'm not like playing a dot class, I don't really worry about having bars and stuff to count down. I just have these to like track various things. See, it'll have my powered shield, borrow time, grace, and you can also add in things here. See, I've added in Archangel, Evangelism, and Body and Soul, and those are really nice to have. You could also have Weakened Soul, and then that would show up, but I don't really care about that since I'm always looking at that on my frames. Class Timers is a pretty good dot tracking add-on. A lot of people use it to track dots, say if they're Shadow Priests or whatever. I think that's a pretty good use of it. I haven't used it that way though. The next add-on I'm going to discuss is Mixed Scrolling Battle Text, which is my scrolling battle text. And you'll see it over here, and it's also over here. I just changed what my scroll areas look like, so they look like this now. I thought there was a lot of clutter going on around the sides of my screen, and I wanted to reduce that. But I'll show you what it used to look like, which is what would have been in all my other videos. Like this. Which was very nice if I wanted to double check information, because it was slow. It also looked really clean. There was just, it was taking up a lot of screen space, and I decided that wasn't very good. The next add-on I'm going to discuss is my cast bar, Quartz. You'll see it here on my player and target frames. It's also on my focus frame. And this is another thing that's kind of copied from Eliana's UI. Basically, Quartz is a very popular cast bar mod, and you can configure it basically however you want. Here's the config mode, and I'm not going to move these around because I don't want to mess anything up, but you can change them however you like. As you can see, there's a lot of options. So It's very in-depth, but it's also not hard to set up either, so don't let that scare you. The next add-on is Bigwigs, which is my boss mod. For a very long time, I used Deadly Boss Mods, DBM, but I switched to Bigwigs in the middle of Tier 11, and I found it much better. Its warnings are much less obtrusive, and it doesn't track like every little thing like DBM did, I think. I ended up finding that I was removing a lot of the DBM timers because they were irrelevant to me, and it was just so much work. I got really annoyed. So Bigwigs automatically tracks things based on your role, which is super nice, and its notifications are also much more pleasant. It's just a clean pop-up text in the middle of your screen with a sound, and it's configurable, so you could configure it to be bigger. You can also have it count down, which is something I know DBM has now, but Bigwigs has had that for longer than I've been using it. It also has the rangefinder, which is pretty awesome. And other boss mods have that now too, but I'm pretty sure Bigwigs had it first. Bigwigs also has plugins for 5-mans if you get the add-on Little Wigs, and also like Bigwigs Lich King or something like that. You can see here I have the 5-man things listed here. You can also click List Abilities in Group Chat, and it'll link the ability descriptions, and people can look at what those are about. You can also change the sounds for things. So if you want it to say run away like DBM does, you can probably configure it to do that. Also by default, it has the Final Fantasy fanfare when you kill bosses, but I disabled that. So, I really like Bigwigs though. And oh, one more thing about it is I have found in my experience rating that Bigwigs timers are generally a lot more accurate than DBM timers. I'm always hearing people complain, oh, my timer was off, and they're generally always the people who use DBM. So that's just something to think about. The next add-on I'm going to discuss is my buff add-on, which is Bison. It's up here in the top right where you typically have your buffs, and yeah, I like it because it's skinnable and it looks very nice. A lot of buff add-ons are not as clean looking or they're outdated. It's basically what I've come to the conclusion of. I also have like its proc buffs near the center of my screen here, and it automatically knows a couple things that you would want to track. So let's look at it. Here we have buffs, debuffs, weapons. It also has separate bars for buffs, debuffs, and weapons, and then procs. And I don't know how to config this. Oh, button lock. Okay, yeah, so here you'll see what I have. These are my buffs, these are my debuffs, which I have those increased size, because I find that pretty helpful. And then here's weapons, which I don't care about on my priest, but like on my shaman or on a rogue, those would be your weapon enchants. And then here are the procs. And I'd love to know what it tracks exactly. I'm not sure. Yeah. I guess it just automatically tracks things. And you could disable that though, if you want it to not be there. You could also move it somewhere else, but I like to have it near the center of my screen because that means like I don't always have to make a power aura for something like that. But for other things, you'd want it to be somewhere really obvious. So you might make a power aura for it anyway. The next add-on I'm going to discuss is my nameplates, docs nameplates, which I'll have to find a monster. So I'm just gonna mount up and find something to get a nameplate on. And okay, so here we have a wolf, and this is how I've configured my nameplate to look. Yeah, it's not really that impressive, but it's cool because, like, I don't know, it'll track your dots and stuff to the side. Like, if we go into nameplates, you'll see, like, buffs and debuffs. So if it has like a buff, like say Hand of Protection, it'll show an icon next to it, and it'll usually be like pretty huge. So I've actually found this pretty useful for the rare occasions I PvP, so I can just pop those mass dispels off pretty quickly when I see that. The best thing about this add-on that I found as opposed to other nameplates is that it skins the friendly target nameplates and makes them look so much cleaner. So, yeah, it'll also change their color based on class color, and it'll put a star over their name if they're a friend, a guildmate, a real ID friend, anything like that. If they're in your party or raid, it'll have a star, and it's a color-coded star based on what it is. So it's really nice. In a raid, they won't have the stars unless they're outside the raid. So basically, you don't have to worry about your screen being super cluttered by stars. And yeah, you just have the names, and it looks really nice. So you can see, like, if somebody's standing in the wrong spot, you don't have to like recognize their character or try to read the default nameplates, which I've always found like really hard to read. So they're like this light blue. You can just see their name, and it's like, hey, you, get over here. And yeah, it's really nice. The next add-on I'm going to talk about is my chat add-on, Pratt, which you'll see down here. I'm actually getting whispers right now, but Pratt is highly configurable and just in general looks a lot cleaner than the default chat. So if you're in a channel, instead of saying like /2trade, it'll just say 2, and so I'll type in my chat here, it just says 1, and it'll also tell people's levels. If you're in a guild with them, it'll color their names by class color. It's just in general extremely nice. Next add-on is Dominoes, which is my bar mod. And I've just set it up so all the buttons are down here at the bottom. I'm healing, so I can't really look at my buttons to begin with, so I just stuck them all down here, because I'm not looking at them. Some people are like, oh, that's too small, or wow, it's so far down. And you know, those are the people who look at their buttons, which, I mean, some people can afford to do that, but as a healer, you really can't. So this is just how I've set it up, and here I'll have, like, you know, pots and food, health stones, whatever. Here's my roll macro. Yeah, so these are just, like, things that I might need. The rest of this is stuff that I really don't worry about. I have bar configuring. It also has role. It has its own role stuff. It has an experience bar, which I do not have enabled. It has the extra action button over here. I just have that key bound, so I've just kind of tried to stick it out of the way, but somewhere close enough that I can like just keep an eye on the cooldown. It comes with a cast bar. I don't use that because I have quartz, and you just like click things and see. I have some stuff on this bar. I'm not really sure what all this is, but yeah. Yeah. So it has a bunch of bars. You can configure them. This just looks like my main bar. Some of them that I had used, but I haven't been using them. Oh, class bar, that's just shadow form for priests, so I don't worry about that. Vehicle bar here. Bags, menu, and then like, these are just a bunch of bars lined up here at the bottom. So, the next add-on I'm going to talk about is Rayleigh's Spell Announcer, or RSA. This will basically allow your character to auto-announce when you interrupt something, cast a spell, and it can announce it to any channel you want. I originally downloaded this to track who is clicking my light well, so when somebody uses it, it'll tell me in my private channel, and that's pretty cool. So I'll know if people are wasting the charges or whatever, because that used to be a problem. Basically, it'll come with all these skills preset, and a lot of them will be enabled, so you'll have to go in and probably disable some of them, but it'll be extremely helpful to have this. And it means you don't have to put in like macros saying, oh, I kicked or whatever. You'll actually know if you legitimately interrupted something, and your chat also won't spam if you hit the button several times, so that's incredibly nice. It also comes with some raid leading announcements, so like cauldrons, Jeeves, and have group will travel, mass res, concentration potions, and racials. It'll also track Gift of the Naru, I know it does, also Arcane Torrent, I have seen it do that, and probably like any other racial it might say. The next add-on I'll talk about is TipTac, which is the tooltip here. As you can see in the corner, it says Firelord Intrigue, Electric Sheep member. It'll tell you guild ranks, which is extremely nice. So open the TipTac window and you can see this is another extremely configurable add-on. So here you can move the anchor of the tooltip, and you can change the font, you can change the transparency. I have mine fairly transparent because I don't like things that are opaque, covering things on my screen. And it'll also change like classifications, so if you find a rare, it'll say in the tooltip. And yeah, like, I haven't gone through a lot of these options, but yeah, basically you can configure this to do whatever you'd want in your tooltip. But I think what's really nice about this is it'll tell you, you can see this right now, who somebody's targeting, and if it's you, it'll say you in like caps. Well, you can change it, but I just kept the default because it's pretty noticeable. And also I like seeing what guild rank people are, so you'll know if it's somebody's alt in a guild or, you know, a trial member, depending on like the guild ranks they use, but it's generally informative. The next add-on I'll talk about is Rating Buster, and this is really nice. You'll see at the bottom of the spell description or the item description, it'll tell you how much stat you're gaining from a piece of gear. So these trinkets are giving me over 9,551 mana each. And if like I open another trinket, it'll tell me how much I'm either losing or gaining. And you can configure it to display whatever stats you want, but it's pretty nice to see the actual stats. So here, if I compare these two rings, this one is obviously better, but this one has spirit on it, whereas this one I've reforged for spirit. So this one has slightly more mana regen on it, and that's like something you'll know easily, instead of like looking at the default and seeing, oh well, this has slightly less spirit on it, I wonder how much that is. This will tell you. Next add-on I'm going to discuss is Titan Panel, which is up here at the top of my screen. See, I have a lot of these enabled, and these come with the add-on itself. Location, experience per hour, I'm 85, so this doesn't really mean anything. I could probably just remove this, but whatever. I use this on my alts too. I just copy the profile, so I don't care. It's not like I'm at a lack of room currently. Gold, bag space. You can configure this so it's colored text, so it's red, which means I don't have a lot of bag space, but I already know that. I never have much bag space. Here's durability. This is really nice. It'll tell you what durability your items are at and how much it'll cost depending on your rep. What's especially nice is that it'll auto repair. You can also make this use guild bank funds if your guild allows you to use guild bank funds to repair. If it doesn't, then you'll want to make sure this is disabled, or it probably won't repair for you. Here's your performance info. It shows your FPS, which mine's sitting at like 17 right now. It'll change colors based on what it is. So now it's up to 21 and it's yellow, so that's better. And then my MS is at 49, which is actually higher than usual. And my add-on memory usage is here. Or just my memory usage in general, actually. That's what that is. And then it'll say what my add-ons are that are taking up a bunch of memory. And here, I just have Lore Master here, which is this small add-on. I'm not gonna do a lot of talking about this. This is just an add-on I'm using to find quests I'm missing while working on Lore Master, which is my current project. And here I have some of my add-ons, clock, volume info. I don't really use the volume. And yeah. And basically you can right click and here you'll see like you can just put a ton of your stuff on the Titan panel. You just want to make sure you don't run out of room. You may be able to have another Titan panel. I don't know. I remember like Fubar did, but I haven't used that in a long time. And I haven't really configured the Titan panel much, but oh, and you can skin it too. So I have this skin here, which is nice looking, but you could change it. So there's that. Next add-on I'll discuss is my map here, Sexy Map. Basically, it's awesome. It skins your map and makes it so not all of your icons are displaying at once. I should really like go through this and remove some of the icons. You can make it so some always show, like I always have my calendar, my mail, zoom in and out, just to make sure I'm always zoomed out. And I don't know why these always show. I guess I just haven't configured that. And I have Outfitter and Tracking shown. And you mouse over it, and I'll open up that config here. So, oh. You can set it to auto zoom out, which I have because I was having some problems with my game just randomly zooming in the map, and I got sick of that. Oh, it'll also ping the map. When somebody pings, it'll say their name. So, Intrigue. But the only problem I found is that, oh, it went away, but I found that sometimes it doesn't. Oh well, anyway, I thought this is the add-on I have that pings the map when you use certain skills like Powered Barrier, but that might be something else. I don't know. But see, you can configure this to never show some icons, only show it on hover, or just always show the icon. And I don't know where the skins are. But yeah, so, and you can skin it too, somewhere in here. Oh, I guess it's the presets. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that though, because I don't want to screw anything up. I'm gonna talk real quickly about an add-on I have, which doesn't have a user interface. It's called Tacticals, and it just skins the font of basically everything in your game to Calibri or whatever. Basically, if you like this font, this add-on is for you. It's basically like clear font, but that doesn't work anymore. So it just skins like everything. You can configure some add-ons, like you can see my recount here doesn't use the same font because I had to use a small font. But yeah, it just skins everything initially, and you can configure it in the text file or whatever, but there's no user interface. So only use this if you either feel like editing a text file or you just like the font. It'll also have like up here that's skinned, like basically whatever, everything gets skinned. So next add-on I'm going to discuss is KG panels, which is down here, this teal box here and here and here. These are KG panels, and again, you may recognize this from Eliana's UI. That's because these came from her UI pack. The add-on itself does not come with these pictures. You either have to download some art to do this, or like make your own, and I'm pretty sure Eliana made these herself, but yeah, so you just place them on your screen somewhere, and it's here somewhere. I guess it's not. Okay, KG panels. Okay, config. So here's the config window. I guess I could have just put this on my bar up there. Whatever. So here's my 3 bars. Here, here, and here. These are the active panels, and you could like make new ones and whatever. So you can change the width, positioning, unlocking them. You can just move them, and then, God, where's the texture options? Okay, so here I got blue circles, but let's say I want to use just circles. That'll change the color of that. It's really transparent though, so you can't see that super well. Flowery. These are all panels Eliana has made. So if you want these panels, you should download her UI pack and just like at least just take the KG panel thing from that. But yeah, you could also just use your own art, and you can put these panels like anywhere you want on your screen, and it'll just make a nice little box for your UI elements. So it makes it look clean and also pretty, so that's always good. Next add-on I'll discuss is Outfitter, which is up here. Outfitter attaches itself to your character window. And basically what it will do is it already has like an outfit or two for you, like birthday suit that comes with it. It just tries to take off all your character's gear. I make outfits for my specs and also PvP set. So here, my Disc and Holy spec aren't any different. I just have Heart of Unliving in my Holy spec, and my Disc doesn't. So that's the only difference there right now. Obviously, if I had a Shadow set, that would be pretty different. And basically, it'll just automatically change your gear set when you switch specs. So here, it's got the script, secondary talents, which is in here under general. So Disc is actually my secondary spec. And here, PvP, there. Got my PvP gear on now, even though I don't want to, so. And that's pretty much that. You can make outfits for all sorts of things. I just have them for the spec I'm in, and the PvP outfit I just put on, like here. And you can access it from your minimap too. So, that's pretty easy. Next add-ons I'm going to talk about quickly are OmniCC, which is basically just a cooldown text on the icon. See, I just used penance, now it has a timer ticking down. The primary reason I got this wasn't because I look at my buttons, it's because some add-ons work really well with OmniCC, and I'll get back to that later. Ori 3, this is an add-on I downloaded a long time ago because some guild wanted me to have it. It's really outdated now, but it used to be that to check other raid members like durability or something, you use this add-on. Not really that important now, but here it opens this window. If I was in a raid or a party, it would list people's durability. You can also track cooldowns, which is what I primarily use this for. It appears down here when I'm in a group. And for each class, I don't track anything for rogues. I don't know why I click that. Like druids, here, I have Rebirth, Tranquility, and that's all, because I need to know healing cooldown stuff. Paladins, I have all this stuff tracked, because Hand of Protection, it's kind of important to know. Hand of Salve, that's not as important, but sometimes people accidentally use these things, and it's caused issues in the past, so I have them tracked. Shaman, you know, same stuff. Spirit Link and Mana Tide. And, like, you could track more, but I have a pretty small window, so I try to keep it kind of minimal. And you could also scroll through it. Yeah. Next add-on I'm going to talk about is Hermes, which is my cooldown monitor. This is one that works really well with OmniCC, I'm pretty sure. And so does Tell Me When, if you use that. This is basically to track who has their raid cooldowns up, and it'll also say how much time is remaining. See, I'm Disc, so here you can see Powered Barrier. It says that my Powered Barrier is ready and I am alive, connected, and within range. And you can configure it. The only thing is you do have to configure it a little bit. So for Powered Barrier, I had to configure it so it only shows for Disc Priest spec'd into Powered Barrier. And you also have to adjust the timer on it for some of them. Like, for example, the main one I think is Tranquility and Divine Hymn, because those have cooldowns that get reduced based on the person's spec. A Holy Priest has a 3-minute Divine Hymn, but any other kind of priest has 8 minutes. So that's something you'll have to set up. So that's, like, it was kind of annoying, but pretty easy to figure out. And it's absolutely worth it. It was definitely easier to configure than Tell Me When for me. And this works really well. The only thing about this is it will not like track cooldowns of other people in LFR unless they're from the same realm as you. I don't know if it'll track it in 5-mans. So that's a really useful add-on though if you're raid leading or healing leading, or just want to keep an eye on cooldowns. And you could like track pretty much anything, so that's pretty cool. Next add-on I'm going to discuss is XLoot, which is my loot add-on. I used to use just XLoot, now I use XLoot 1.0. So I don't know why it doesn't have a window open. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you go to loot something, which is pretty cool. It'll color items based on stuff. I have also XLoot Group Loot, which will open like similar looking roll windows, which are just very small, minimal. It'll also list whether it's BOP or BOE, and just have like need roll, greed roll, and all that stuff. And you can see you can configure this, so, and also, yeah, it has auto linking, or not auto linking, but it can link. So, oh, it also can auto loot coins and quest items, and you can choose this to be just when you're solo or all the time. So that makes it a lot faster. Like, even if you have auto loot on, which I always do, this will make it so you don't even see the coins when you loot. It just goes in your bags. Same with quest items, so it's faster looting on that important stuff. Next add-on I'm going to talk about is Bagnon, which basically puts all your bags in one bag. And this is what it looks like. I know my bags are full of crap right now, and they're kind of always full of crap, but this is what it is. And it has a few options, which are pretty cool. And yeah, I just use this because I used to use LVUI, as I said, and the one slot bag, or the one bag, whatever, something I liked. So it also does this for your bank. But you can like enable that or disable, do whatever. And there's a lot of options. I haven't really configured it much. But yeah, so that's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah. I also have a small add-on called Bag Brother, and I guess it doesn't have a configuration, but basically I'll mouse over something like, say, the Highland Spring Water, because I have that on a bunch of my characters, and it'll tell me how many I have on my characters that have any of that. So you can see my shaman has 20, try to keep like 20 on a character generally. And yeah, so if you like need something like, say, volatile water, I can see, oh, my paladin has 21 of them, so I can just get them from her. Or volatile fire, and it's really nice just if you're working on getting mats for something. It just saves some time from like having to check on your alts. And it'll also list if it's in their bags or their bank. Obviously you have to log on to the character and look in their bank first before it starts tracking this stuff, but once you do, then it'll track this. So next add-on I'll talk about real fast is Doom Cooldown Pulse, which will pop up over here once my penance comes off cooldown. This is just a pretty cool, like just a flash of an icon. I have a lot of things that track cooldowns, but I feel like whatever, you know, more information is usually better. And sometimes, you know, I found that this will pop up before my power auras. Then again, I just switched to these affinity power auras, so these seem to be a lot faster and more responsive. But basically for Doom Cooldown Pulse, here's the config, it's /DCP, and unlock. There's where it is, and I can move this around. I can also change the size, how long it takes to fade in, fade out, opacity. I don't know what the hold time is. I guess that's just how long it stays, like, you know, opaque or whatever. And animation. You can also apparently ignore cooldowns. I didn't know that. Show spell name. I didn't know it could do that. Pet. I don't know. They may have updated this recently. So this isn't really something I pay attention to a lot. It's just, you know, there. And it's kind of nice to have. And last thing I'm going to talk about is Angela's Rapture, which I can't really test out here in Northrend because nothing's going to do that much damage to me. At least without going out of my way. I'm lazy. But basically, you know, if you're a Disc Priest, you will want to track your Rapture somehow. And Forte Exorcist can do this too, but Angela's Rapture does it better. So basically, here's what it looks like. I got the Rapture cooldown, and it counts down, and this is from the time Rapture procs. I get mana from it. That's a 12-second window, and then it'll make that sound. And it has the message, Rapture ready. And you can configure that. You can change the sound, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm assuming you can change the sound. Maybe you can just enable or disable, whatever. It's an annoying sound, but it helps to have annoying sometimes. So basically when you see that Rapture ready, you know, okay, now I definitely need to get a bubble out on somebody who's gonna take damage if possible. Like, even if you're bubble spamming, sometimes your Rapture will be off cooldown longer than it should be. It's, you know, it's helpful. So I made mine pink, so that's good. You can make it pink, thumbs up. Last thing I'm gonna do is scroll through my add-on control panel real fast. Again, I have so many add-ons, but I figure there's a lot I haven't gone over, like Auctioneator, good, auto-capitalize chat, good. Just like passive stuff that doesn't really come into play typically. A lot of this is just, you know, dependencies like little wigs, and it's got all these segments. Mask is the skinner for all these things I have. Dominoes, bison. It just makes it have that really like crisp look. Mogget, that's my add-on up here, which I can just find pieces of gear. So let's say I want a one-handed mace. Look, all these one-handed maces. And it'll have a check mark next to items you have, so you know that you don't have to go hunting for those. But yeah, so that's what that is. Mogget is awesome if you're into transmogging gear. I absolutely recommend it. Mr. Clean is an add-on that automatically will vendor your grays, but I found it doesn't always work. I think it's outdated or something. Phoenix style is great for anybody who's doing any sort of raid leading or anything like that. Postal does a lot of stuff with mail. It can automatically open your mails, so Reforge Light helps you reforge. It comes with set like stat priorities, but you can make your own. And it'll automatically calculate stat weights for you and then reforge. Like, it can hit stat weights like on the nose, like 8% hit, 2005 haste, any of those like breakpoints, if you can hit it, it'll find a way to hit it, which is pretty awesome. So most of these are just things I've already gone over or am not going to address because I don't really use them. Like, they're backups. Like, Pitbull is a backup if stuff ever goes away. Yeah, so that's my UI. I really hope this helped somewhat. Like, I know I kind of rambled at times, but yeah, that's it. And if you want like any information, you can feel free to leave a question here, or I can like post power aura strings for whatever, and I'll be sure to put links in the description for the UIs that I've mentioned here, as well as listing all my grid supplements that I actually do use. So have a nice day, and thanks for watching.